in Washington with less than a week before a possible June 1st federal default. Negotiations appear to be homing in on a debt to raise a ceiling, a deal to raise the debt ceiling and avert economic catastrophe. Here with the latest is our chief White House correspondent, James Rosen. James.
Well, Bob, good afternoon. All along, one of the major questions hovering over these negotiations between the White House and House Republicans has been whether House Speaker Kevin McCarthy can keep his restive conservative conference in line behind whatever compromise he might strike with President Biden. This afternoon, my Newsmax colleague, ace congressional correspondent Kilmeny Ducart, asked the House Speaker about some early rumblings of discontent among the House GOP.
What's your response to the letter that 35 members of the House Freedom Caucus sent you with a list of demands with the hashtag hold the line? Does that make you a little bit concerned about GOP?
No, not at all. Look, what's going through right now is members don't know what's all in. You all report things that aren't really true in the process, so people get concerned. You ask them questions. If you're wondering about holding the line, where have we been all the time?
But if Speaker McCarthy is not worried about blowback from the Freedom Caucus and other hard-right conservatives in his ranks, he should be. A Capitol Hill source close to the process tells Newsmax he, quote, can't imagine House conservatives voting for anything like what is emerging. These are, after all, the same lawmakers who held up McCarthy's election to the speakership in January and who feel emboldened now to torpedo the emerging debt deal, in part because they do not regard June 1st as a real X date. Republican Congressman Bob Good of Virginia told Huffington Post that if the deal extends the debt ceiling beyond March, it will absolutely collapse GOP support for the deal. Indeed, the deal under review now provides for a 2-year extension. Likewise, GOP Congressman Chip Roy of Texas told a radio show that what the speaker is negotiating, quote, doesn't sound like a deal that I can support. And Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah chimed in, tweeting that he will oppose any deal that doesn't contain substantial budget cuts. Now, the deal taking shape now, Newsmax has confirmed calls for federal discretionary spending to be held to fiscal year 2023 levels. But it was supposed to be held to fiscal year 2022 levels under the plan that the House GOP passed just last month. Bob?
All right, James, thank you. Let's continue the conversation. I believe we're joined to talk about this is a member of the Freedom Caucus, Congressman from Virginia, Bob Good. Congressman, we were just mentioning you and some of your cohorts. How do things stand right now on getting a deal done?
Well, I hope that things stand with the House staying united on the Limit, Save, Grow bill. That is a bill that we took 90 days to negotiate. Most of us Republicans didn't want to raise the debt ceiling at all, had never voted to raise the debt ceiling. But we came together with responsible, significant reforms and cuts to put us on a path to fiscal responsibility while the Senate and the White House were on the sidelines. We meant it when we said this is the deal the Senate needs to pass. This is the deal the president needs to sign. We meant holding the line. And that doesn't mean until the 11th hour. That means to see it all the way through. You know, I think every 30 years or so, we ought to actually do what Republicans want to do for a change. We haven't done that since the early 90s when you had Newt Gingrich come together and drive Bill Clinton and balance the budget for the first time in many years. We haven't done that in about 30 years. It's time to do what Republican voters elected us to do and what we told them we would do when they gave us the majority.
Congressman, this week you have put up a resolution that was passed in the House overturning the Biden administration's plan to cancel student loan debt. Tell us a little bit about that and why it's important to overturn it.
Yeah, this president said himself about a year ago he didn't have the constitutional authority to transfer student loan debt to those who didn't borrow it. His education secretary and even Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, said the same thing. And yet he did what he knew he did not have the authority to do. He knew it was unconstitutional, and he did it anyway. So this bill is a congressional review act that will overturn it. We got bipartisan support. 2 Democrats voted to pass it with us. It now goes to the Senate where they have to take it up because it's a congressional review act. And hopefully we'll get a bipartisan Senate to support it as well and force the president to sign it. It's $500 billion that we don't have, and it's immoral and illegal to try to force those who didn't borrow student loan debt to have to pay for it.
You know, I do remember back in the 90s, Newt Gingrich and company, Republicans did take, it became a very serious issue. Should there be a balanced budget amendment? Should we balance budget? And eventually, even under Clinton, Republicans were able to work with Clinton, a Democratic president, and balance the budget for 4 years, which was fantastic. But when the Republicans had the majority and had a Republican in the White House, why didn't you all balance the budget at that point?
Well, I wasn't here at that time, and that's one of the reasons why I'm in Congress now. I got elected the first time in 2020. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to serve with President Trump. But you're right. Republicans have been complicit in helping us get to $32 trillion in national debt. Yes, the Democrats are better at spending than the Republicans are, but Republicans were not good on spending in the last two Republican administrations. That needs to change now in the House, and Republicans in the House are showing the courage to do the right thing, to take us on some steps that'll put us towards fiscal stability. The Speaker needs to continue to hold the line with us on that and force the White House and the Senate to back down. They will do that if we refuse to give in.
Congressman, before we let you go start the holiday weekend, you have come out and endorsed Florida Governor Ron DeSantis as the Republican nominee for president in 2024. We'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, Governor DeSantis, I think, has been a model governor. I call him America's governor. What he's done in 4 years now, almost 5 years in the state of Florida, to go from winning by half a point to winning by 20 points after he showed courage in a purple state. He was the governor who was the boldest in standing up against, something we never could have predicted would happen in this country, but the COVID mandates and restrictions and lockdowns. He opened up his state. He has fought all the important issues for Republicans, and he gives us the best chance to win. He's a true conservative, and I want 8 years of Ron DeSantis in the White House.
All right, Congressman Bob Good, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your answers.
Yes.
I love the way you say that's why you're in Congress now. The budget was running up. I think a lot of people think it's high time to get control of how much spending is coming out of Washington.
Says someone
We
from
can't
Virginia.
let him down one more time.
Yeah, I'm a fellow Virginian, so I'm with you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, and here with reaction, our guests this afternoon, Lydia Serrani and Nan Hayworth. All right, Nan, again, we touched on this before, but you have been very closely involved in debt ceiling negotiations. And so, again, break this down for us. I think, something that a lot of people are concerned about. Lydia, you mentioned your family and friends. Yep. Well, what about Social Security? What about my checks?
Right.
We had Rick Santorum on earlier in the show saying the deadline is like a false deadline. It's going to be fine. They're going to figure it out. Can you lay some fears at rest for us?
Well, Treasury has enough receipts coming in that they can, even beyond June 1st, pay the debt we owe, for example, to foreign creditors and pay our entitlements,
like Social Security and
right?
Medicare.
Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. So those things can happen. Many things cannot happen. It becomes a variant of the government shutdown. Government shutdowns occur when Congress can't agree on a budget, basically, or expenditures. They don't even make a budget, really. That's just in theory. But agree on appropriations for a year. But the problem with doing it via a debt ceiling impasse, if you will, is that it does and can affect our credit rating. And it did, in fact, cause a downgrading of U.S. securities.
We'll get more money, by the way, June
2011.
15th, because that's when companies will have payments
There's
due.
taxes.
Yeah.
And as we were discussing earlier, the fundamental problem is, and any fiscally responsible government figure will tell you that. Ben Bernanke, Fed chair, told us that years ago, is that the federal government spends too much.
Yeah. Quick thought here, Liddy.
Ditto. No, I'm just kidding. We're running out of time.
Sorry,
By the way, you have a show on Sunday.
Sunday, noon to 2 o'clock, and Nan is going to be on with me. Nan will be on with me. We're going to have all the top guests. We'll talk about the debt
to the
ceiling.
producers that you will hit your out.
Exactly. Sunday agenda.
That's it. I'm here in rap. Ditto. We're good.